35.
34.
33.
32.
31.
30.
29.
28.
27.
26.
25.
24.
23.
22.
21.
20.
19.
18.
17. 16.
15.
14.
13.
12.
11.
10.
9. 8.
7.
6.
5.
4.
3.
2.
1.
Hey, Rocky, you want to see me pull a show out of my hat? Nothing up my sleeve. Presto!
Hey, Mouthwash viewers, welcome to the Mouthwash Talk Show, a minty, fresh take on politics. And we're going to have another good show for you. We are live streaming on 8 different platforms now. We got Facebook, a couple places. We got YouTube, we got Twitter, we even got LinkedIn. I mean, you know, those business folk need some entertainment every once in a while. So we're streaming from there. And man, it has been hectic. We got a lot of stuff going on. We have a lot of stuff going on. We got a couple people on the road and getting scrambling around back there. But we have Jon Schrock on, and he's got some big news. I think it's some big news. It's some good big news he's got. So we're gonna get him on here. We're gonna talk to him. But first we're gonna talk about a few things. Hey, yours truly. I'll be on the Hammer and Nigel radio show this Thursday at 3:35 live in the studio. And we're going to talk about politics in Marion County. We're going to talk about precinct committeemen for the GOP as well as state delegates. And I think you'll want to tune into that. And afterwards, we're going to have the Arts Center open from 6 to 9. We'll have a notary there. And if you live in Marion County, make your way down to the Mars Hill Arts Center. We'll sign you up for precinct committeeman or state delegate or both. We'll do it. So tune in to WIBC Hammer and Nigel this Thursday for a lively discussion about Marion County politics. And also, hey, next week, we're having a great show. I get a much-needed vacation. My better half, Lisa Schmitz, is going to host this show. This is a Valentine's special. We are going to have our guest. It's going to be April Bordeaux. She is maybe French. I don't know. Maybe French, maybe not. She is the director of Care to Change. So we're going to talk about the relationship. You know, the French are very good with relationships. So we'll see. She may not even be French. I don't know. But that's my best French accent I can do. So it's going to be a great show. Oh, I forgot to mention Dana Black's coming on. It's going to be Dana, Tiffany. No, Tiffany's going to be sending in a clip because she's going to be flying back from a Bigfoot expedition. She's out, coming back from it. So maybe she'll have a Bigfoot with her. Maybe that'll be in the video. She's going to send in a video. We got Dana Black. We got Lucy. We got Lisa, a video clip from Tiffany. And we have April Bordeaux coming on. So it will be a wonderful show. I will just have to worry about pushing buttons instead of doing everything. So that's going to be great for us. But let's get to our business at hand. We got small talk tonight. We got the whole 9 yards. Oh, one other thing. So I did Chateau de Marcel Studio has got another show. It is called Say It Out Loud with Cassie Jackson. And so that is going to go off on the Chateau de Marcel Studio. It is French too. It is going off at 8:30 on Tuesdays. And what I do is Cassie calls in. She has a topic. I ask her some questions about the topic. It's about a 10 or so minutes. We have a talk. And this you can go back and look at that on the Chateau de Marcel Studio because it went off a recorded version. And we talked about white privilege. So that's the only teaser I'm going to give you. So you can check that out. And then also our own Mark Small's got Civil Discourse Now firing up. So you can watch that. Just all sorts of stuff going on here at the Mars Hill Chateau de Marcel Studio. So that's enough. I feel like I've already done a show. So let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and bring on John here. Let's see what we have here. John, come in, John. How are you doing?
I am doing fantastic. How are you, John?
You can see I'm transmitting from the moon. You know, yeah. It's what I got.
That's
and
good.
That is also part of my conspiracy.
I'm glad you landed on the moon. It's been a while since we landed on the moon. So how's it going up there?
I weigh a lot less. I like it. I feel slimmer, but that's part of my conspiracy theory tonight. So I thought I would put that on there. I remember watching that live in second grade at Abraham Lincoln School, watching the thing live in the Hollywood studio or wherever they were shooting it.
Really?
Oh wait, no, that's not my conspiracy. I'm not going to give it away. So John, you're going to run for the U.S. House District 9 against Larry Bouchon, but those plans have changed, right? Why? Tell me why that has changed.
Yeah, I was looking at running for declared for running for the 8th district. They're down there west part of Indiana, all the way down to Evansville, but then got offered the wonderful position of national field director for the John Birch Society. So I get to coordinate activity across the United States.
All right. Yeah.
The best.
Yeah, that's awesome. You've been on our show before, and you're like Lucy, crazy, have 10 kids and all that. And how do you find time to do all this stuff with all those kids and whatnot? You probably have to have 2 minivans to get them around. How's that work?
Well, I've got to thank for a wife. I think she gets to go to heaven first class. She's up with the peanuts and she gets the blanket up in the front. I'm hoping I'm just on in the luggage compartment order for that. But she's a saint and able to help me to be able to fight back against what's going on out here. There's a lot going on.
There is. It is a very interesting year. I call this 2024 the year of enlightenment a little bit. And you're also a pastor. Is that correct?
Yep, I'm an ordained minister. I'm not right now actively pastoring a church, but I am an ordained minister. Yes, sir.
That's in the John Birch Society. You're flying all over, just like whack-a-mole, like going over and getting all these things. So okay, well, and
yes,
as
sir.
I said, you've been on the show. It's been a minute. We've been doing this 3 years, so you might have been as long as like a year and a half ago. I don't know. It's been a minute. So, but hey, let's do this. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to play. Mark Small here, Small Talk. It's 2 minutes and 5 seconds of pure joy. So here, let's listen to Mark, and then we'll get the panel on here.
Sounds
Hi,
good.
Mark Small. This is Small Talk. 1950s going into the 1960s, we had a different political landscape here in the United States. There were groups that formed on the fringes of the political landscape. Amongst those fringes was a group called the John Birch Society. It started in 1958 in Indianapolis. Now, people who were there at the first meeting had a lot of money. One of the people, last name was Koch, K-O-C-H. His sons have carried on the tradition of right-wing mimicry in the United States. So they started the John Birch Society, and the John Birch Society advocated a view that there were a lot of conspiracies in our society, in our country. The communists were everywhere. What really kind of sunk them at the beginning was that the founders said in an interview to Chicago Daily News that the President of the United States, former General Dwight David Eisenhower, was a dupe of the commies. He was a knowing, conscious communist. That really kind of did it to them, because it's one thing to say things that are wrong, but it's another to say things that are so absolutely ridiculous, people start laughing hysterically. People still had a sense of humor back then about such things, and people then were probably better educated. For example, we had the GI Bill, meant that a lot of the people who had served in the Second World War and Korea could go to college, and a lot of people took advantage of that. Now you have to hawk your future in order to go to college. But nonetheless, the John Birch Society went to the background, and now, because of different developments in our current country, the John Birchers appear to be back. If there is a conspiracy of people who are against segregation, who advocate for voting rights and equality in marriage, consider me part of that conspiracy. Small talk. Bye.
So maybe the John Birch Society has changed since then. So You get my people right here. So John, I'm going to start out the questions here. Well, hold on. Where's my manners? Brad, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, John. How about
I
you?
just want to know, you brought your own fan club, it seems. And,
Oh yeah!
and she looks
wow,
like
look
she's
at that. See, I got
Russian.
like one now. This is insane.
No, you got two. You got two. Hold
That's
on,
Kelly,
I got
yeah.
another.
No, I went to
another.
prom with Kelly. Yeah, she's awesome.
Okay. And Cassie Jackson, you got two of them on here, so hey, you're doing better than some. Not as so. How you doing, Brad? I mean, I see you just grew the whole beard now.
Yeah, I'm just letting it keep going. It's it went past the irritating phase, so I think I'm all good now.
You're good to go. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't do it. I had one of these things one time. And I looked like Hulk Hogan without the muscles, so it was awesome.
Did you have like the headband too, though? Like,
oh, that was like more like Macho. I had those glasses, Macho Man. Oh yeah.
Oh, heck yeah. All right, man.
Yeah. So, all right, Lucy, how you doing?
I'm here from an undisclosed location. I figure if the John Birch Society is on, I don't want to draw any heat to myself.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's watching.
Well, I'm from the moon. I'm transmitting from the moon. The air is just crystal clear up here. It's just you just take basically one breath and that's it. So, and then we got Tiffany. She's audio right now, but I think she'll be on here directly. So that'll make it interesting how that comes in. So, John, okay, now we've got our introductions out of the way. How has the John Birch Society changed from the commie hunting? Well, however Mark Small described it. How has it changed since the 1960s?
How has it changed since the 1960s? Well, we were established with some core principles. We wanted to bring about less government, more responsibility, with God's help, a better world. I'm not saying much that's changed. I don't know. Maybe Dwight Eisenhower was a communist. It was kind of interesting that he went and formed an agreement with USSR, bringing communistic ideology over to America. I don't know if it walks like a duck, talks like a duck. Gosh, maybe it's a duck.
Well, we do hear, we have.
He was the one that warned us about the military-industrial complex. Like, he was the one who set forth, he kind of saw the writing on the wall, I think, and we just didn't listen.
We did listen because the John Birchers were listening. Just the rest of you weren't.
Nobody else heard it. It's like if a tree falls in the woods, nobody's there to chop it down or whatever, however that goes. But so, it's one of those things where we have a Democrat socialist city county councilman he basically says he's communist. So I guess maybe we do have such a thing going on here. Now, he's in danger of getting kicked out of the Democratic caucus for the city county council, and he's been in office for a month. So what's the difference between, say, a communist and a Democrat? I mean, Brad, I'm going to ask Brad that, John.
That's because I have no idea. John, I've been to events that you've spoken at. I've seen you speak twice. First time was at the Purple for Parents conference at the Life Church in Noblesville. You were a part of that.
You were able to stay awake?
Oh, I bought a ticket for that one, John. Like, I was so excited to go. I got to meet Paige Miller, Rhonda. Is Rhonda watching tonight?
I don't know. Probably. I mean, they're still watching at some point. Usually they.
Micah was there. Alvin Louis.
Yeah, I remember this.
Well, and so I was pretty excited to go to that. And anyways, I got to go there, and then I was actually protesting at the State House the day that you spoke, and you had somebody speaking on human trafficking.
It was Jacques Boyes and Jon Schrock spoke at that too. Were you downstairs? You were downstairs protesting, and we were upstairs.
Oh no! I was upstairs. I was holding up a sign because I was a member of the library cartel, and I had I'm still a thriving member.
He should have brought a book with it.
I got books. It's okay. No, that's libraries are great. We have a lot of information and dictionaries. Because I want to understand why we're called Marxists sometimes. Like, I've been called a Marxist. I've been called a lot of names, pedophile. But I've been called a lot of stuff that I don't know that the people hurling those insults at me actually know what they mean. And it bothers me from a library standpoint. It's like, know what the insult is. If all you can come up with is a curse word, then call me that. Don't.
I bet you Lucy can come up with some.
You know what, Brad? I understand your professional concern because there's a lot of illiteracy on all sides of the political aisles. And so, from your professional interest, I can see why you would be concerned.
Well,
My favorite thing is the thesaurus.
Mm-hmm.
What's another word
I
for
feel like a lot of
thesaurus?
the times, like the messages get lost because, or amplified because somebody is speaking passionately about them. Just because somebody's speaking loudly does not mean that their message is the best. And I feel like when you like really want pastors to get out and get political, you are mixing ideologies and kind of forcing ideologies on an entire state versus your clergy.
So let me form that into a question for John. John, how do you
John.
separate your I didn't want to do the Lucy thing. That's getting old. How do you separate being a pastor from the political side of things? How do you do that? I know that we have Micah Beckwith that tries to walk that line, and I think it's an interesting point that Brad brings up. How do we keep the separation of the church and the state and all that going?
I guess we have to decide is whether or not separation of church and state is a constitutional principle or not. I searched it and I'm not finding it inside the Constitution. I mean, there's other periodicals that we could read, papers we could read that has the word separation of church and state, but it's not in the Constitution. I mean, there's a lot of stuff like that. So how do I go about personally doing it? Well, maybe I might shock some viewers or maybe not shock some viewers. I'm tired of pastors being involved in politics. You're like, what? How in the world? You're a pastor, you're down at the state house, you get people motivated to come down to the state house. Well, yeah, it really frustrates me when I go to a church and I hear the pastor talking about whether or not we should put new paint up on the water tower in the local town, or I heard a pastor squawking about fact whether or not they should get new signage for the Second and Main Street. And why are we have new signs here in the city that we're in? Well, that's politics. But I'm looking for pastors that would be willing to preach the Bible. When it says one man for one woman, God created man and woman, not 176 genders. Well, I think there are 176. 2 are from God. The other 174 are from the devil. So I'm looking forward to that. That's not politics. That's Bible.
Yeah, so
Bingo.
That's
You know what I'm
clergy,
frustrated
though, right?
about?
That's not at the state house. Like that,
You know
that's
what I'm
I mean.
frustrated with? I'm frustrated with politicians trying to act like they don't have a religion, whether that religion is atheism, self-worth, or some sort of biblically derived religion. Everybody has a belief system that biases them in their
I don't know
actions.
what you have to call it, but there's a morality to it, and I think that's what it is more than
Pastors, as far as I'm concerned, pastors have a responsibility to put themselves in the public eye and to do public works and to be examples to the community. And that means politics.
So I want to say something. I think these churches need to be paying taxes, Lucy. What do you have to say about taxes?
Taxation is theft.
Yes.
Thank you, John, for setting me up for that today.
And we got Tiffany joining us now from her.
Tiffany.
How long did that take to get to?
What's that? We need to
Like 8 minutes.
We need to have a raffle to see who could pick the time when it is set. That's how we do that. So,
that's a great idea.
Good to see you guys.
So, Tiffany, were you able to listen any to what we've been talking about here? Or
Yeah. I missed Mark Small though. I was in the elevator, but it's good to see everybody. Brad, I'm sad that people are calling you names that they don't know definitions of. It happens to the best of us.
Right? Yeah. No, I mean, that happens.
Hey, speaking of that, I saw somebody say in the comments, Christian nationalist. I want to hear what everybody. We'll start with John. You tell me what your definition of that is. Then we'll go Brad, Lucy, Tiffany. I want Christian nationalist. What the heck is that? I'm not sure I know. So I'm gonna let you.
I think Brad had talked about people like hurling insults. That's probably been thrown at anybody that believes in God and is involved in their country. I find Christian nationalist actually to be 2 nouns. I'm a Christian and I love my nation. My gosh. I mean, what's the problem with that? If somebody has a problem with that, why don't they move over to Cuba or China and they can go enjoy their lack of freedoms over there? But if not, yeah, I'm a Christian. If I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ. I'm going to go out and preach it, and I'm going to talk about my nation. I'm pretty excited that I live here in the United States of America. If I wanted to move to Nazi Germany, then I'll go move to Nazi Germany. But I'll stay here in America, like the place.
Yeah, don't stop him now. The Germans are going to bomb Pearl Harbor. So I think I already know Tiffany's answer. She's going to steal yours, John. But Brad, do you have a different idea of what? I mean, you got.
Are you overlooking? Are you overlooking me? I'm a.
No, you're last. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, Brad's going to go, and then Lucy, then you.
Okay.
So you got to wait your turn. You're on the show 5 minutes. You're trying to run the damn thing. So, Brad, go ahead.
I think a Christian nationalist is somebody who feels that God is going to solve all of the problems of, the United States of America, and only through God is that possible, and only through how they say it's going to be is possible. And it's the most frustrating part to me about all of it is the fact that it just it ignores so much of the Bible and so much of what being a Christian is supposed to be about, like loving thy neighbor and I don't understand where the hatred and the division comes in when Christian nationalists are kind of mentioned. So
you've obviously never met a Philistine before, but so in other words, Brad, what you're saying is a great theory until you add people. Because
religion is a great thing. It brings communities together. It can bring people together. It has a power in itself to do great things, but when it's exploited, it's just terrifying.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, well, you know what they say that sometimes you're the only Bible somebody will read. So what kind of example are you putting out there? Lucy, Christian nationalist, what the heck is that?
I think Christian nationalism has the connotation that there is a mixture of religion along with your politics, and that Christianity becomes the preeminent religion that shapes the nation and is imposed. And I have a problem with anything that is imposed. I'm a voluntarist. Some people call me an anarcho-capitalist, but I like voluntarist better. So I don't want to be ruled by anybody's God. The only God that I'm going to be ruled by is the one that I have a personal relationship with. And really, that's not any of your business. If you can't tell who I worship by my actions, then I'm doing a pretty poor job.
All right.
And do you expect others to follow that, Lucy?
No, 100% no. Emphatically no.
Good. Okay.
Emphatically
I think
no.
Brad was trying to trap you.
But
no, that's what I mean.
No, that's a really good question. No, that's a really good question, because I have friends that are pagans and Muslims. I don't have any friends that I know of that are practicing Satanists, because I do draw a pretty hard line there. But I do have some friends that thinks that they're white witches. I think that's a little delusional. I think that power comes from one side or the other, or that's the wrong side. But, more power to them. People might consider that I do witchcraft because I grow herbs and then I make my own tea. For some people that are ultra right-wing Christian nationalists, they might think that growing your own herbs and making your own teas makes you a witch, which I would deny.
It's pure devil worship. So Tiffany, circle this wagon here.
So in its most basic form, I mean, most Americans go to church on Sunday. What they say, former Catholic is the #1 religion in the United States. So, and then the majority of people have to love living in the United States. It's kind of like you said, John, there's no true alternative. Where are you going to go?
Yeah,
so
people don't move.
I know.
Move. So there's something better to go to.
Some healthcare. You're going to move to Mexico. Although there are some places in Central and South America that are very kind to the U.S. doctor and make wonderful places to retire. Also some places in Europe too. So I just think that we can't lose the narrative on Christian nationalists. We can't let people take that away from us, because that's exactly what our founding fathers wanted. The beginning of our Constitution, a lot of what we do here is faith-based. And then I think love of country is where we all need to be. If we don't love where we live, what are we doing?
It
And
does
that's-
seem
I want to make a distinction.
Come here to get away from religious persecution. Isn't that why everybody came to America?
I think
allegedly,
stealing properties.
Allegedly, but I'd like to really make a distinction between country and politics, and country and government. Because, I mean, let's use Italy as an example. Italy has been around for thousands of years. We can go back to the Romans. There have been various political installations, like Caesar and like Mussolini. So, but the Italian people have always been amazing, right? So let's make sure that we separate ourselves as the culture of America and independence and, all that good stuff, and emphatically draw that line between, I'm not a trumpeter. I'm certainly not a Biden fan. I don't want to be associated with any of the politics. I just want to be associated with a good culture, welcoming people, big hearts. We give, things around the world.
Happy Black History Month.
Yeah, that's why we love you, Lucy. That's why we love you. So we really haven't talked a whole lot about the John Birch Society, but it's been a very good conversation. But that's some of the words that come up when when we have our differences here. So we want to cover them. So let's see. So what, you're now the national director for the John Birch Society. What goals and aspiration and lofty things do you have on the horizon for this outfit?
Well, I see we got a win this last week. Our coordinator, Polly, out in state of Washington, was able to have her team. They defeated a DEI committee out there in Washington State. You would think the Socialist Republic of Washington State, you couldn't defeat something like that, but we got it defeated. So that was fantastic. It was great seeing Birchers out at the Indiana State Senate Appropriations Committee, and they stopped that absolutely horrific bill where they were trying to install health clinics inside of the schools because they, what's up next? Top and bottom surgeries in Indiana for little boys to become little girls and little girls to become little boys. No, we got that stopped. We nipped it in the bud, as Barney Fife told Andy. You got to nip it in the bud.
So that's when you hear DEI, that's sort of what you think of as far as when you talked about this specific action. Is that what would be considered that then in the schools?
No, DEI is not the healthcare in the schools.
Okay,
DEI is.
I got
that is two separate.
Yeah,
two separate issues.
Washington
State, we stopped the. Washington State, we stopped DEI. In Indiana, we stopped the school healthcare stuff initiative.
Okay.
There in the state of Indiana,
that's
what I envision us doing more of that, stopping the communist goals that were read into the U.S. I think it was the U.S. House back in, was that 50s or 60s? They read the
1962.
1962. There we go. They read the 45 communist goals. It's pretty interesting how many of those have already come to fruition. And so we're going to push back against that, this globalism that's coming in to America. We've got people that are trying to poison water. They're trying with carbon sequestration, pushing back against that. Why are they taking up so much land with these solar panels? They're not even very effective. Their return of investment, it's like crazy. Fountain County, Indiana, where I'm from, they're trying to put like 8,700 acres of solar panels in this year. In fertile farmland. Hey guys, I like to eat. I mean, if I turn sideways and show you my belly, you would understand I like to eat.
I was going to make a comment about that. Does anybody else think that John looks like Jonathan Winters? I mean, a young Jonathan Winters, not the old. Yeah. If you had some overalls on right now, I'd be like, I'd be doing my Jonathan Winters invitation. But I'm sorry, I shouldn't make fun of our guests. That's not. But me and John are friends, so it's probably okay. But so
that's a compliment. That's not an insult.
I appreciate it.
Good. Then
when you say a youthful Jonathan Winters, are you talking about Mork and Mindy? Kind of like
before that even. I mean, we're talking back when John Birch was walking around on there, way back his early career. He's still got quite a few years. If you could work on a Jonathan Winters invitation, though, it'd be awesome. But
I got a picture of him. I pulled up a picture of him for you.
Oh, see, look there.
Yeah.
Look at that. You see a similarity.
Doppelganger.
That's good.
Yeah, it's like
doppelganger.
So Tiffany, we mentioned the DEI stuff. I mean, you're probably the brownest person on the show. I'm pretty white. I mean, we just did a white privilege thing with Cassie earlier. So what do you think about the DEI stuff? I mean, is it a merit thing or is it a skin? What do you think? I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah, you definitely are. Oh, wow. We've come a long way, but the Civil Rights Act was written in 63. So we've come a long way, but how far have we really gotten? But I just think I think Curtis Hill answered it best at the candidate forum a couple weeks ago. And he said that when he's elected governor, he will close the DEI office and it'll be about opportunity and excellence. And I just think that really sets the stage for people to be invited, included, and to pursue their dreams. Sharing opportunity is one of the things that prevents qualified people from advancing. I know that when I was on active duty, there were a couple of people who poured into me and made it possible for me to get some key jobs. When I was in the corporate world, there were a couple of people who poured into me and gave me opportunities, and even now in real estate. So, nobody wants a seat at the table just because you want them sitting there. People want to know that they're there because they're qualified, and they'll get the opportunity to handle the big jobs. So, opportunity and excellence.
Yeah. So, John, what Tiffany just talked about there, how does that fit into the John Birch? That probably sounds like it fits in pretty much what you guys are about.
Oh, absolutely. What we've got going on is there is, unfortunately, it's a there's still racism going on. I've seen it myself. People choose people because of their skin color. They don't choose them because of their skin color. Probably be labeled a Christian nationalist because I refer to this, but I find out that everybody's related to everybody. When we go back to Adam and Eve and go back to Noah and his wife, I believe, pretty sure it was Joan of Arc was Noah's wife.
That was her.
Good joke.
We're gonna get fact checked on this on YouTube. Just shut it down.
All right,
YouTube just shut us down. But we have that. But then we see that they have used governments have used laws in order to then entrap others to the government. Well, I think that that's wrong as well. So we have to fight the two evils that are going on with that. I find that when you look at the Civil Rights Act of 1964, it ensnared some people to the government under the guise of civil rights on that. And I find that to be atrocious. I think that we need to have equality, not equity on that. So we should be equal. You should be judged off your character and your abilities. It's one of the four tenets that we have that we believe at the John Birch Society. It's your character and your abilities. We want to be judged by it. We want to judge others by your character and your abilities.
All right. So you talk about small government. So I'm going to ask Brad this question. Brad, if there was what law or rule or whatever societal rule do you think is the most egregious that you would like to, if you had a magic wand, if you were Gandalf, which one would you like to make disappear? I'm putting you on the spot now. Tiffany had her chance. Now it's your turn.
Oh God, in Indiana? Oh,
I don't care where it is. It'd be on the moon.
Legalize weed tomorrow.
Okay, now Jon Schrock. Well, wait, let's do this. Lucy, what besides all of them, you got to pick.
She wants to get rid of taxation. She wants rid of taxation.
Okay, so if you want to hack at the roots of evil, what props up the evil is the monetary system. So you have to get rid of the Federal Reserve, and you have to go back to a constitutionally founded money, because until you get rid of the money, until you get rid of the printing press. And I could wax poetic on that, but I'm not going to. Until you get rid of the printing press, nothing else matters.
Tinsdale made a good Bible out of the printing press. So both of these, Tiffany, have green involved, money and weed. So what would be your?
What's the original question?
Which law, rule, whatever, societal rule would you, if you could strike, which one do you find the most egregious that you would like have a wand for a day to take it away?
Wow.
There's so many to choose from.
I know there's just so many. I don't know. I just would want to add one, unfortunately.
Oh, no, wait. That's the.
I know. And it would be just around making sure that we were doing things that was best for children. Just, I don't know how I can make that into. When we lose sight on investing in our future and investing in children, that's when we lose the promise of America. So I think we need to keep that first and foremost, our families and our children.
All right. Well, that is our foundation. There's no doubt. So, Jon Schrock, you got the magic wand now.
Wow. Man, I guess it would be outside of my realm as a Birch Society person, but I go back to the 17th Amendment, where we took away states' rights to choose their senators. I think that might be one I would go to possibly. In fact, it really wasn't ratified correctly. I don't know. There's so many shenanigans that we've played across history, but get down to deflating the bloated federal government, get it back down to the states as it was meant to be.
I got to add in here before you say anything, John. Can I take my answer back and we can just ignore the Constitution and literally eliminate the Constitution entirely
there's
and
no
go back to
holds
the
barred.
Articles? Got to go back to the Articles of Confederation if we really want to make a difference.
All right.
Articles. Well, see, and that's why we shouldn't have a con, because when they went to the Articles of Confederation, they launched what would be called a con today, and my gosh, we don't need that, and this nonsense that COS is putting out there. The Convention
I
of
know.
States, we can have
Isn't
limited.
that dumb?
Oh,
Can you
come
believe
on,
people
y'all.
are so dumb? People are so.
Hey, Robert,
so
he
dumb.
says term limits. Hey, Tiffany, your boyfriend there, he says he's chiming in.
Every election is term limits. We don't need term limits because every election is a term limit.
The ballot
Wait, you hear
box.
that,
Term
Robert?
limits at the ballot box.
That's what people say.
So yeah, that's something. So did we get it? Oh, I didn't get rid of mine. Let's see. I think I want to get rid of. I don't know. Let me think about it. I was too busy listening.
I think people over 72 shouldn't have to pay like property taxes or income taxes. I think there's
Why
a certain
should anybody?
Well,
why do we enslave the 26-year-olds?
I think there's a certain age that we get to, and it should be like you've done your part. You know.
Okay.
Hey, I'm 52. I've way done my part. Why are you taxing me, bro? Don't tax me, bro.
Don't
tax we are taxed. I am taxed. I'm taxed for being taxed. It's terrible. I would say mine is I want to take away the Area 51 fence so we can see what's behind it. And
you can't handle the truth.
I know. I talked to so seriously. I got a guy that's going to come on. He's like a whistleblower, border agent guy, and he's talking about if he's like deep in the government. He says if we were to see the aliens or the human other beings, that it would destroy Christianity. I'm like,
Joe, you've already how many UFO videos did we see in like the last year?
Oh, I made 3 or 4 of them.
Not in Miami.
So
you know.
What point are we just like, yeah, all right, they're probably
okay?
There.
So for anybody that really wants to go down the rabbit hole of destroying Christianity with alien theory, go watch Billy Carson on YouTube and learn about the Emerald Tablets and Thoth, and just start reading about the Emerald Tablets.
And
I'm not going to say anything
saving
else.
That for the conspiracy theory. So, what does the John Birch Society think about UFOs? I mean, I know you've probably been thinking that question was going to come out tonight, so I'm sure you've been prepared for it.
I didn't get that prepared. I don't have that pulled up. I'll have to get back to you on that.
That's a UFQ, unidentified question. Sorry about that. But so, what do you think, Brad?
Well, no, I had a question for John. Just it was from one of his prior visits here. How can you explain to me how sex trafficking is an industry made possible by schools grooming kids? That you said that on
sex trafficking is.
How is sex trafficking linked? How is that industry made possible by schools grooming children?
Are you asking, do schools groom children? Is that your question, or is that?
I'm asking you, like, how. You said that sex trafficking is an industry made possible by schools grooming kids.
Yeah, because we got pornography that's in schools. We've got UNESCO that has videos encouraging children to watch pornography, and we know the direct correlation between usage of pornography and breaking down children's inhibitions, adults' inhibitions, and then they are ready to be sex trafficked. So cause and effect type of thing. You can make those conflations with that. That's why we've got to get pornography out of libraries.
But there's no evidence of pornography in schools, though.
I was in school in the 90s and the 80s and the 70s, and there was pornography in school. We had some sketchy books back then, and we had outcome-based education, which John is probably familiar with. But yeah, how do schools make this happen? Well, first of all, you dumb down the population. Second of all, you remove the inhibitions. Third, you teach kids that it doesn't really matter whether you're a boy or a girl, and you lead them into mental illness so that they can't even distinguish. Then you teach them that the parents Yes, you lead them into mental illness by teaching them false things that allow them to believe things that are patently false, like a boy can be a girl and a girl can be a boy. And then what you do is you make them distrust their own parents. So now when those things happen to them, they can't go to the very people who should be taking care of them. Then you give CPS power over the children so that they can be removed from the home. In Arizona, I think it's a kid gets removed every 6 minutes or something and end up as medical experiments, because once you're a ward of the state, then the state can get paid by places like Pfizer and Bayer and enroll you in studies. This was completely revealed by Liam Sheff and what was going on with AIDS and Fauci.
Like the public schools, our local public schools are
Okay, the public schools have
really
curriculum. And have you watched Libs of TikTok? Do you not see who these people are that are the teachers? Like, just go on Twitter and watch Libs of TikTok.
Like, think back of all of your teachers in forever. Okay, did you ever have ones that just acted weird and like?
Oh yeah,
they weren't videotaped. You
So
know,
Brett,
yeah. Should I talk about? Should I talk about
life.
the one? Should I talk about the one who propositioned me when I was 17?
No,
You know, I
and
mean,
that's
where do you want to go with
disgusting,
that?
And they should be like, but how is that? You know, that should be dealt with on an individual basis. Like, I don't understand how it's the same thing with police officers, right? Like,
Brad, did I hear you correctly? You said there's no evidence of pornography in schools. Is that what I heard you say?
Like, I mean, I think as far as we're talking like school libraries and stuff, I don't think
what about
those books are pornography, and it's not. I mean,
so are you questioning my definition of what pornography is, or are you questioning that? So what would you define as pornography?
Like that last part, like the part where it's always like specifically written to be sexual in nature or to arouse, or use the term turgid, which is something I never understood what that meant, which meant stiff or erect. But I learned that reading into the Indiana state codes because of this.
Turgor pressure?
No, turgid.
Turgid,
like
Turgid.
Well, usually that phrase is used with plants. That's what gives plants leaves the stiffness.
They were using it in regards of sexual nature, at least as far as the state definitions.
So, Brad, one of the things I wish Dr. Stock was on the show. One of the things he talks about when we talk about if our schools are grooming kids or not, and it's a mixture of what our kids are exposed to, and they're forming brains and things that create those dopamine responses that can kind of make them addicted to it. So it's everything that Lucy was talking about on the background of a forming brain. I'm not a neurologist. I'm not a pediatric neurologist or a psychiatrist, but I think that that's an important part of the conversation that will help people understand what all is going on. When you take it all in, it's kind of like your libraries, your school libraries. If you only look at a slice, you miss so much. And people.
But you're trying to cut the slice though. Like you're
no. I'm trying to help you understand that, like, all of those things that Lucy was talking about, libs of TikTok, who our teachers are, what they're teaching, what's in the libraries, the gender confusion. When you take all of that in and you understand that that they're laying it on a brain that is still forming and developing, how things can turn out differently.
I'm going to give my example of this, which is pointillism. It's this form of painting where you make little dots, and you go in and you see 3 or 4 little dots, red, blue, yellow, white, and it doesn't make any sense. But then you zoom out, and then you can see better data points, and you get a better picture. And all of a sudden, you're like, they are doing this to our kids. And you can't focus in on that one little dot and call me crazy because this little dot doesn't prove it. No, but the other 1,000 do.
Yeah, and I think that one of the things, to be fair, and I know Brad's a library guy, and I know that he tries to keep all that stuff. But you think about it, we have phones, and we even had a bill in the House to you have to verify your age to look at these explicit things here. And if your kid's got one of these smartphones and full access to it, it's they can't whack-a-mole the stuff fast enough to get it off of there. It's like. And I think,
John, that's a really good point when you talk about kids in their phones, because I know in certain states they're looking at like not allowing them in high schools. But again, when you take social media, people out there for likes, people being bullied online, and you take all of that in and you put it on a forming brain, who doesn't understand. That's where you get your anxiety, your depression, your high suicide rates, because these children are living in an artificial environment that their parents never lived in. And a lot of it is because they're letting this rule their life. And it's interesting. I was at a restaurant getting some food, and I was talking to this girl. She's maybe 2 years out of high school, and we were talking about the internet. And this girl is like 19, 20 years old, and she said, you know, I grew up with a cell phone, and when I have kids, they will never have a cell phone. They will never have access. They will never be able to roam around the internet like I was able to. So I do think that in years to come, we will realize that this was worse than any Playboy magazine that was sitting on the shelf next to Better Homes and Gardens. So
well, that's what so Tiffany, why the attack on the schools? Like we talked about, so there are all these dots, but like, so to give it a blanket statement, hey,
I can tell you why the attack
Here we
on
go.
the
Everybody
schools.
can do this.
I can tell you it's because
let's say,
schools.
Lucy, let's start with our guest first, then you
Yeah,
go
that's
second.
right.
Okay.
Right,
Come on,
you
come
go.
on, Sean, get in the program here.
So I think there's a misunderstanding, because some of the exact same stuff that would be banned via the age verification, that if they did not verify their age with the bill that's in the Indiana legislature right now, is available via taxpayer dollars inside of public schools inside of the state of Indiana. Books like Gender Queer, books like Later Gator, books like the names are slipping my mind. Books that graphically describe group sex, lining up multiple women in order to test them out, as the book states, paid for by taxpayer dollars. Well, if it's a picture, that's not the only kind of pornography that is out there. There's also literary pornography, that is the written word. There's pictorial pornography, which is the picture of it. That's in Gender Queer, where it shows gay sex, homosexual sex. It shows a young child performing fellatio on a older gentleman. And paid for by your taxpayer dollars. That's not allowed, because we would have age verification for the cell phone. Then why is taxpayer dollars having it in the school that it's readily available inside the schools? If it's porn, it's porn. But we had the educational exception. That's why they're grooming them. That's why I'm fighting it, and I will fight it.
Yeah, and one of the questions: when did we get off of teaching reading, writing, arithmetic? That's where I want to know what happened. I mean,
because that was Eisenhower. That was Eisenhower. That's why we called him a commie when he went and entered into an agreement with the USSR, bringing the communistic goals from Russia over here. John Dewey got involved in it. There's all of those things, and we can connect those things. But that's, I could talk for a couple hours.
I thought Dewey was the guy that did the decimal system, but maybe that's not the same guy.
Same guy. Yeah, Dewey was a communist. Dewey was a communist as well.
Well, you just ruined my image of him forever, I guess. I thought he was pretty cool.
Dewey Decimal was a communist?
Yes.
He
started the whole public education system.
Show all of a sudden here.
Hide information from people?
Wow, it's like
you what? What was your question, Tiffany?
I was saying, was he trying to hide information from people in the libraries? Brad,
he was organizing it. He had to do a decimal system to organize all the commies that he was keeping track of. It sounds like to me. But, so, Lucy, can you add to that?
The reason that this is a problem, and Brad, you know I love you. Like, you and Ed are my favorite Democrats, really, truly.
Yes.
Yep. And I have the utmost, and I have, exactly. And I have the utmost respect for you. And I appreciate the fact that, you're a counterpoint to all of this.
I love being thank
you. Yes, you are. You do a great job. And you do it with so much more even-handedness than I do. And here's the problem. The problem is that public education is compulsory. It is funded by theft from the very people who are shoved into those boxes. And it's not truly in the public interest, because the curriculum gets shaped by forces like big companies whose interest is to create worker bees, manufacturing drones. It's not to create people who can think independently. And so this is where it becomes the worst, is because we're trying to shape society as a whole through the public education system. And the people that are at the top, unfortunately, the elite, the cabal, the WEF, and all those folks are Satan worshiping pedophiles. And so it's in their interest to continue so that their progeny, the people that come up and are lured in to them, have access to our children later and our grandchildren later. So we're making the stand right now to say, we see what you're doing and we're not going to let you.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Lucy, you have brought your A game tonight. I don't even. Ooh, that's.
I got new lip gloss. It's the lip gloss.
Oh, it's a lip gloss. Well, Tiffany gave you a beauty tip. I can tell. So this is what I'm thinking. So you say when a kid looks at something and you don't know about it, that's on them. But if you have it in a public place, a school or whatever, that's condoning it. That's the basic difference of that. When they're sneaking around doing it, that's different than when, oh, I guess it's okay if the adults are doing it. That's where I see the biggest line on this.
Here's
I'm back to where how do we get away from reading? How do we get to this point? I don't remember this in school. I mean, we chased the girls around school and all that, but we didn't have teachers telling us what to do when we caught them.
I'm sorry to keep interrupting, but I think the most important thing, and this is whether you take a lesson from the Bible or from society, what did the Jesuits say? Give me a child till they're 7, 8 years old, and I've got their entire life. As a twig is bent, so grows the tree. It is a race for mind space. Just when you think about like branding, most kids, by the time they can start talking, 1.5, 2 years old, they recognize McDonald's. McDonald's has already branded inside their mind. People that have prurient interest in children want to be the first to brand inside their mind. How many people do you know that are honest, that are gay, that are, I have friends that are gay. One friend in particular, I'm thinking that's male, confided in me that an uncle molested him at a young age. And he says, yeah, that's probably why I'm gay, because my first formative sexual experiences, my first experience with pleasure involved another man. No, it wasn't consensual and it's terrible and I would beat the crap out of him if I could. But the fact of the matter is I probably am a gay man because I was molested as a child by a gay man. Brand marketing.
Yeah, I think. Well, there's a John. You'll appreciate this. There's a proverb: "Teach a child how they go, and they'll wear it around their neck the rest of their life." I mean, it's just there is that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. And one of the things we have a discussion in psychology is nurture over nature. How much is your nature, and how much do you learn? And that.
But aren't the parents there for the first 7 years then? Like the way
no. And I'll tell you why. No, they're not. They're not because of taxes. Because when the income taxes were put in place, then we took women out of their role as nurturer and teacher of their own children. We gave them this false empowerment. And I'm not a feminist, by the way, but it's very clear to see that it's ideal to have two people with similar values. If you want to raise value-driven children, that one of those people should be instilling the values in the kid. But the taxes are so high that it literally takes one person to pay the taxes and support the government and one person to support the family. So by necessity, these women are going out into the workforce and they're dropping their children off with other people. I mean, how many kids, it's almost a proverb that kids get, molested in daycares and preschools.
Sometimes they're like raised by grandmas and raised by grandparents.
How is that? I am that grandma. I want to be that grandma.
I was raised by wolves.
Not continuing the tradition of, I mean, they get those family values within those 7 years too, right? Like it's not.
Well, no, not particularly, because there's compulsory education in most states that starts around age 5. So you're still pulling those children out and imprinting on them.
The society around us is much more of it than like the school's fault. It's not.
Right. It's not all the school's fault. The school is a useful tool.
It's like the school statement. All I think about are all the teachers at like the school that my kids go to. I love all those teachers. I don't think any of them are trying to like indoctrinate them or do anything odd to them. Like I trust them with their lives. Like they had one of those, they had an active shooter, like a fake active shooder called into the school last year. And we had to go and they had
a test. Somebody had a test they weren't ready for.
Now, I would like to point out, because there may be people that are listening that are in different parts of the country, that all of us are in Indiana, which tends to be a very conservative state. So it's not surprising to me that you probably love your local teachers and you have relationships with them. But all you have to do, I'm telling you, is just go on X, go on Twitter, put in libs of TikTok, and see what other people are dealing with around the country. How many
But
people
then they
are
need
literally
to go stand up to those teachers. Like they need
and
to
you know
be
what happens when they do? Then the parents are put in jail, like the guy in Canada who tried to stop the gender transition that was occurring in his 13-year-old child, and they put him in jail for 6 months. And in California, your children can be taken from you, and you literally never see them again if you oppose their gender transition. If you're not a safe person, they'll go take your kid and put him in a boarding house. And what's sad is most people don't realize this is about money and green rectangles. This is about creating a new marketplace that's $1 billion wide to mutilate children and to put them on, sorry, yeah, there you go. I'll shut up because John, I know I'm preaching to the choir, John.
Who's
Lucy,
voted Vinny?
Lucy, what I think is interesting is, these systems that are put up to help children transition if they think that they're the wrong gender. And I just wonder the conversations that they're having about, you're making, you're making a big decision, and this could probably affect your ability to, have children later.
No, of course, they don't have any of these conversations at all. If you listen to the detransitioners,
an adult relationship with somebody. So I think that the funny side, the ironic side of state-supported gender transitioning is that the state and these entities are helping people become sterile,
yes,
able to replicate, and ruining their sex lives for the rest of their life. So sometimes when people say yes, you really got to think about what they're saying yes to. So, when Michaela was in 4th grade, she wanted to be a nail tech. Now she's, working on her doctorate. I think that we can't let children stop with an idea and you can't feed into it, because children have ideas all the time. Like, I'm a princess today. Tomorrow I want to be a trash man. And I just think that we have to be careful with what parents do, and you also have to be worrisome about what society will let you do, because these kids won't be able to replicate. They won't be able to reproduce, and they aren't going to have normal sex lives. So
that has been the goal.
Yeah, well, the thing is, just think if you're a grandparent. Just think if you're a grandparent.
That's why it's a problem. Brad, help me. Help me, Brad. Is this okay?
Yeah, why does the grandparent get a say, by the way? Like, my mom and dad. I'm sorry, my mom and dad don't get a say in like that. Like, I love them. Like, they don't,
I'm just talking about the consequences. That being that people.
I think everybody should be explained the concept. Oh yeah, like that's the thing, Tiffany. I don't have a tattoo because I don't like anything enough to put it on my body. I couldn't imagine like the scenario in anybody else's head.
You're going to be kicked out of the Democrat.
That kind of like motivation to change themselves. Like I can't imagine that. Like I don't know what that's like. So.
Well, motivation to change is one thing, but when when states are putting taxpayer dollars to help you, and oh, by the way, you're not going to be able to reproduce, you're never going to have children. Well, biological children, it's going to be very difficult, and you're not going to be able to enjoy that part of your life. But the state's going to help you. I just think that sometimes people need to think about I
think that's like that. I feel like that's more of like an elective thing.
Then you lose. That's all.
Yeah. We're getting ready to wind this thing up here. We've covered about every basis, all the way from UFOs to whatever. It's been a great conversation. I think that John has probably learned more than we learned from him tonight.
Yeah.
So
sorry, John. I would. Yeah, we should have asked.
Somehow, I think John knows everything we've talked about tonight. A little bit more.
Well, he's just making Jonathan Winters faces down there, like, and all that. So, expressions were what counts. But so, John, we're going to give you the last word here and congratulate you once again on national. That's not just Indiana. That's the whole country.
That's that whole Christian national thing right there.
You're going to be national. You're going to be Christian.
You're the head of the Christian nation.
If this were Honey Boo, you'd be like the head. I don't know. You'd be like the head, whatever. I don't know.
Nationalist.
No, what was you would be like the head supreme or the biggest supreme.
Yeah, well, the libertarians have vermin.
The vermin supreme.
Yeah.
I was going to bring vermin supreme. Where's your boot, dude? Where's the boot?
He wants to give some people the boot. So, John, give us the last word here. We're going to go to the conspiracy theory. Since you're not running for office anymore, it's mandatory you stay on.
So I got to stay on. I got to come up with a conspiracy theory.
You don't really have to. You can talk about anything, but go ahead and give us the last word and congratulations and all that.
Well, thank you so much for having me on. Thank you for the fantastic conversation. Thank you, Brad. Thank you, Lucy, and thank you, Tiffany. I love having this and being able to have these conversations. Look forward to doing it more in the future. But I want to encourage people to get out, get active. It is. I don't remember ever seeing you, Brad, down there, but I'm glad you're down there expressing your views. What a wonderful thing to do. We have a First Amendment. We have a right to redress our grievances to the government. It is appalling to me the few number of people that come down to the State House for such important issues. That place should be packed. There should be, it shouldn't even be standing room only. It should be there. People should be coming out, and I want to encourage people to get educated, find out what's going on. Don't just get inside of your echo chamber. Find out the truth. Make sure that you are reading and understanding what's going on. One of the worst places to be is inside of an echo chamber. On that, find out that it's truth. Find primary source documentation. You might be shocked. It might cause you to go, gosh, I need to have my Bible and my favorite conspiracy theorist nearby, because you're going to have some things that you're going to find out that are true. And hey, join the John Birch Society, jbs.org/join.
All right. I like how you put that in there. Join the John Birch Society. Oh, speaking of plugging stuff, I'm going to put up the picture. Tiffany, this is our guest for next week, April Bordeaux. She looks a little French, maybe. She's the managing director of Care to Change. She's brave enough to come on the Mouthwash show next week, and you're going to send a little video on maybe a beauty tip, maybe whatever. But hey, so we'll let you replace small talk. I'm not letting any guy screw up your show. So it's ladies' night. Maybe we even play that song.
I was going to say, am I just not invited next week?
Oh, I don't know.
Well, it depends on what you identify as.
Am I just not invited next week?
Oh, can we get Ryan to be on the show? That guy?
Oh, yeah, Ryan Webb up there in Delaware County. No.
Yeah.
That's a good one though. That's a good one. He'd probably do it. He was actually in the chat last week, and I want to say thanks to the viewers. We had a nice little chat, and they were a little more civilized tonight than last week. It was off the hook. So let's go to conspiracy theory. Grab up your little helmets there and foil and whatever. If you don't have it, it's okay. We won't judge.
Hey, y'all, it's time for the conspiracy theory, so you better get your tinfoil hat out, and let's see what's going on this week.
All right, I almost had my hat on backwards. That would have been a tragedy. So.
Yeah, you don't see my hat because I've actually had to install it underneath my skin just for extra protection.
That's the bell saying you're good to go. So I feel like Flash Gordon with my little wings here, but they're not doing so good.
Maybe Hermes
stepped on. Oh, coming in there. So we always let our guest go first since he doesn't have one. So John, you got any? Can you just make up something? I mean.
Well, last time I was on, I can't. I'm trying to remember the boundaries of this. Is this supposed to be true, or is this not supposed to be true?
Lucy does conspirafact.
It's whatever.
Conspiracy theory. Tiffany does beauty tips or Bigfoot dating, commentary. Brad says some sports sometimes. I don't know what he's going to pull out. So it's
usually just sarcasm.
Yeah, he's excellent at it.
Well, maybe I should bring to the forefront during this conspiracy theory time the push to make ecocide, the destruction of the environment, to be just like a war crime. So if you go out with your John Deere tractor, because nobody should drive Case, because you'll go straight to hell if you drive a Case tractor. You're only supposed to drive a John Deere tractor, and so if you're driving a John Deere tractor, you're belching out carbon dioxide because they say that's a pollutant. They say that carbon dioxide is polluting the earth, but it's actually feeding the plants and stuff like that. That's how God made it, but that's my Christian nationalism. But what they will do is they will cause you to the International Criminal Court out of Rome is looking at making it that it's a war crime. It's the same level as a war crime. So I don't know. I think that's just a little lunatic.
So that was pretty good for not having one. I think that was top rate. That was top rate. So So what's that? WWJD? It's what would John Deere do, or something like that. That's what I remember that. So
JDD.
So yeah. So Brad, what do you got up there? What kind of sport comment do you have?
I got one. I heard a rumor that IU is considering renaming the Kinsey Institute. Okay, and but the name that they've considered is the E. Jean Carroll Institute on Sexuality and Consent.
Man, you guys, this is actually turning into a pretty good conspiracy theory tonight show.
I like that one. I like that was. I thought
that was
that was nice.
Did you make that up yourself, or you steal that off of TikTok? You made it
no,
up
because
today?
like I saw that she went to IU. She was an IU cheerleader.
Right.
Like she won Miss IU. In like 1963. So
I'm not questioning your research.
Oh no, but like
it was exquisite.
That's good. That's a good one.
Yeah. I hate that you're going to miss next week's show. You're just getting into your own stride.
Like you could submit that to the Babylon Bee, and they would run with it, and it would totally like if I were you.
It's already out on the internet. Slick Witty's probably like putting it in trying to.
Oh yeah, he's already. Oh, that's stolen. It's already on 6 of his.
Yeah, I had to write a story and send it to the Indy Star.
Yeah, so
put it out on PR Wire.
Yeah.
And release it as a press release on PR Wire.
Yeah, that's another.
The best part is like if IU actually takes it up and like they do it, that would be great.
Oh, that'd be
good. Yeah. We know some people there. So Lucy, what's your fact this week?
You know, the hardest part of my job every week is to try and figure out which ludicrous fact to bring forward. And as John was just pointing out, he was referring to one of the speakers at Davos, which is where the World Economic Forum people get together and literally plot against us. So, you know, that was a really good one, by the way, John. I'd forgotten about the ecocide and how crazy that is. Just want to say that the carbon that they want to reduce is you. You're the carbon they want to reduce. So, so I guess what I'd like to go with this week is an oldie but a goodie, which is geoengineering, also known as chemtrails. If I haven't mentioned it before, which I don't remember if I have or not, 2 of the ingredients of chemtrails are barium and aluminum. And on the periodic table of the elements, that is Ba and Al, which spells ball. And for those of you who don't know, ball is just, another demon. I don't know about the hierarchies of demons. I'm not into all that stuff. So I don't know if like Baal and Moloch are actually Satan, or if it's just like Baal is like a lesser demon, like the Archangel Michael, is to Jesus. I don't know, but there are a lot of Baal worshipers out there. So the next time you can see one, you can say, hey, you're really on the ball.
Oh man, Tiffany, I don't know if I can't keep up with this crowd. Are those Kleenexes in your ears so you didn't hear it, or what do you got going on there? Did they forget to take those out in makeup? What's up?
No, I look like Shrek. So my conspiracy theory is just something that has to do with the Grammys. And Jay-Z made some comments about Beyonce being the most gifted Grammy award winner, but she's never won Album of the Year. And I think that there's a conspiracy out there against Beyonce. And I think that we need to get to the bottom of it because it is unfair that she can be the winningest, most Grammy winner ever and never have Album of the Year. So I just think that we need to put together a commission and review her entire body of work and just kind of understand what's going on.
Oh, you lost me when you said review her whole body.
Body of work.
And Tiffany, that just says so much about Grammys, though, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
Grammys are trash.
Hey, I would like to give a shout out to Miley Cyrus on the Grammys. She did a great job.
Give her so many, but never give her Album of the Year.
Yeah.
That is the question.
Oh, I thought the Grammys were about grandmas and stuff. I didn't know it was about music. I thought it was about grandmas, Grammys. Like I'm going over to Grammy's house. I had no idea it was about music. That's why you learn so much on the show.
I believe that.
Yeah,
Such an educational show.
Well, I missed Tiffany's oldie but a goodie one with Trump's going to follow all of his. Like that's my favorite conspiracy.
You know what? It's a conspiracy fact that Trump is out there on the campaign trail. It's just him and Nikki, and he is listening to his advisors. He's doing all the things that he's supposed to do. He'll be kissing babies, eating pizza with his hands, not with a fork and knife. And he is going to give America what they need, and it's going to be a wild ride.
Make
It's my
America
favorite
orange
part.
again. Make America orange again. So that's good. So my conspiracy is going to be it's a question, a Q&A session here. So in my background there, you see the astronaut there. Now a lot of people think that's Neil Armstrong. Now I don't want to blow your mind, but that is not Neil Armstrong. And so we're going to go guessing. John first, Brad, then Lucy, then Tiffany. Who do you think is in that space suit there? Who do you think it is, John?
John Glenn.
Oh, you got the first name right, but that's not it. Brad.
I was going to say Stanley Kubrick, but
Ooh, that was even
that's
better.
a good
job.
one, but not it. That's not it. Lucy, who do you think?
Well, since I can't remember the other John's last name, I'm going to go with it's actually Al Gore because not only did he invent the internet, but before that, he invented space travel.
It's actually his dad. That's not right either. So, Tiffany, who do you think's in the spaceship?
I don't know. It's a woman. It's one of those ladies from Hidden Figures.
Who is it?
One of those ladies from Hidden Figures. She was so good.
You're all wrong. You're all wrong. You know
you and they made her sit in the back.
This show has been something else tonight. We've had too much fluoridation in our water or something today.
Probably.
You guys are all wrong. That is actually John Birch. And I know that you probably it was so obvious. Jon Schrock almost got it. He said,
"Hey,
John
can I put something out there? Just because you mentioned fluoride, and fluoride is known to cause cancer and to calcify your pineal gland. For those of you who are curious, earthclinic.com is one of my favorite websites for natural remedies. It's a writer downer, earthclinic.com. There are people on there who say that they've had some success in clearing their pineal gland with borax. You can either do the boron or you can do the 20-mule team borax. Be very careful. There's a form of I think it's boric acid, which you definitely want to avoid. But there's a ton of people that are consuming borax, and because borax is antifungal, some women are using it as a douche and with some success. Obviously, very diluted.
All right, I got to draw a line now.
Earthclinic.com. Well, then think
they're cleansing their pineal gland.
No, your pineal gland gets calcified by chlorine, by fluoride, and so boron is in that same line in the periodic table of the elements. So boron can knock out the fluoride.
Here's another thing you didn't know: borax is a very good flux. You can put it with when you try to melt down precious metals. You put borax in there as a flux. It brings the junk out. So hey.
Is that true? Because I use it in my laundry. It is like amazing for getting rid of smells.
It is considered a flux in the mineral world. So that's
John, I was waiting for you to say flux capacitor.
I know, that's what I was waiting for.
I was getting a little gigawatty. I was getting 97 gigawatts or whatever it is. So that's Back to the Future. So that's next week's show. Okay, folks, we've done good. Everybody took off their hat. I'm taking off mine so we can say goodbye. And I want to thank our lovely audience, our lovely viewers that they always remind me to put the banner up because, one of these days we got to get sued by, Phil Gates or
best. Did you see Spiro put it in there for you?
Oh yeah, I'm surprised.
It's a conspiracy theory. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's a conspiracy theory.
Yeah, he actually had that coined. So, hey, Jon Schrock, we love having you on. You're a great sport.
Thank you, John.
I think we were all a little giddy tonight for some reason. I know, Tiffany's arms are tired from flying back in, and Lucy's probably.
It's 8:15 out here. I mean, like I'm chilling. Bigfoot's in the comments. I mean, like I got the rest of the night ahead of me.
What could go wrong, right? What could go wrong? So, all right, everybody. Hey, we'll see you. Well, I won't see you next week. We'll see. It's the girls' night out. It's ladies' night, and the mood is okay. That's enough of that business. So, all right, everybody, say goodbye. John, you're the best. See you in 2 weeks.
See ya.
Yeah.